Hello everybody and welcome to episode 64 of the Wildlife Photography Q&A. As always, we'll be answering some of the questions that you guys have sent through for this week. But for this particular episode, I've got a new face, which is...
Krista.
Hi Krista, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. First of all, tell us, what do you do at Wildlife, what's your role and responsibility?
So I do content management, that's my background as well. So I take care of all the videos, the content going on social media platforms, etc., etc.
Okay, so all the stuff that you guys would have seen on the Wildlife TV, stuff that's going on YouTube, that's all been edited by Krista. So a lot of times we do help you with the photographic side of things, with the video side of things, and then you are the Premiere Pro.
Yes, well,
And
I've been doing it for a lot of years, so yes.
And trying to teach us. So just before we get to the questions, before you joined Wildlife, you were in the news business. So just give us a bit of background on that.
Yes. So I studied film. After that, I went to London. I did an editing course there, and I came back. I worked in some TV shows. I did a movie as well, and then I joined a news agency, which I worked for 8 years, and I think that taught me a lot about storytelling and just the way that media works and what works and what doesn't work, what people want to see and don't want to see.
Perfect. Well, I think it's been a great help for us, and I think once our safaris and things really start kicking off, which hopefully by the looks of it will be from about July, August, then we can have a lot of video content for you, and we're also sort of trying to learn the ropes and trying to help you with the editing side of things. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun once we have all that video content together, that we can work with you on that and really put some kick-ass videos out there for you guys.
Absolutely.
But let's get straight to the questions. Thank you so much for sending them through. Question 1 coming up.
I would say a bit of both. It also depends on what you're actually trying to achieve. I think the way of the future definitely is multimedia, so which will include videos and photos, especially with everybody being at home for the last year and a half. People have been looking for content, and I would say video is the way of the future. Don't throw away still images, but if you can do both, do both.
Yeah, 100%, totally agree. I think it's also, I think you got to be on all platforms these days. You can't just sort of limit yourself to one particular platform. You got to understand and respect how each of those work. So there's definitely, if we're talking just something like Instagram, I think a bit of both really helps. Reels went through a stage where it was very popular, then it went down again, then it goes up again. So you just got to keep up with the times and try different things. I think that's probably the best advice, is try and have videos, have photos, have it nice and diverse, and don't just have it only for wildlife. I think a big thing that we're trying to bring in as well is to show some videos and photos of yourself. It's not always comfortable in the beginning. A lot of people don't like doing it, but it really gives people an idea of who you are and the person that they might be potentially traveling with.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they also don't throw away platforms like YouTube. It's a massive platform. Facebook, your audience is already there. So if you go live, if you do videos, I think be everywhere.
While we're on that, I mean, you know YouTube very well. I don't. It's obviously for videos, but how do you get to a point where you can start monetizing something like that? For people that are watching that might think, I've got amazing wildlife videos, how can I make sort of money off this on the side?
So basically you have to have 1,000 subscribers on your channel to actually activate that. And then it's basically the content that you put out. The more views, the more money. You can't, obviously, with us, some of our more gruesome wildlife videos can't get monetized because no one wants to put an ad on blood, basically. But you must just start and then you must see what works. We've been seeing a massive increase in views on just normal raw wildlife videos. Really? People love it. We had a lion and seal video, 500,000 views, and I think so. We're seeing that works, so we'll try and get more of that. Yeah. So I think find your niche, see if it works, and run with it, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. Next question.
So I think it comes back to what you want to achieve. and on what platform you want to achieve that. So if you do want to sell something and want a lot of eyeballs on that immediately, boost your post. If you have a video that you know is going to do really well and it is going to monetize for you, then boost that as well. It depends on what you want to achieve at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think, I mean, like in our particular case, we're in the business of selling safaris. So a lot of it might be a safari that, might be open for 4 spaces and we only have 1 or 2 people booked on that. Then you can boost it. I do feel that I think sometimes a lot of people boost stuff as like a spray and pray approach. I think a lot of the time people are boosting stuff just for, maybe it's just sort of trying it out. I'm not quite sure. But I think from that point of view, if you, depending on what you do, like you said, if you're selling prints, if you think a particular image will do really, really well from a printing point of view or from a selling prints point of view, then it makes sense to go and boost that. And then for safaris, whenever you need spaces filled up.
I also think it comes back to knowing your audience. It doesn't help that you boost something that your audience is just not interested in.
Yeah.
So that's very important on all platforms, and
Yeah.
audiences on all platforms are different.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Next question.
I started with Walt just over a year ago in level 5 lockdown, which was quite interesting because everything was on Zoom and video call. I think what I enjoy the most at the moment is just creating content again.
Yeah.
We are able to get out there again. We're able to actually film, and I'm able to edit and doing what I love to do in the place that I love to do it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, the beginning was a bit shaky.
All over the place for everyone.
But I think we're getting into it now, and it's just doing what I love. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the really cool thing with having you in is we've kind of always wanted someone to do, especially from a safari's point of view, behind the scenes of what we do. Because when we have paying clients, it's difficult to do all of those things. Your first focus is on the guest, but and I'm sure we're going to do this in the future, but to have you on one of the safaris that we're hosting, just to get a perspective of, or kind of an idea of what we actually do on safari, to show the guidance that we give the clients. I think it's difficult to do it from a first person's point of view. And I think I think we've all learned a lot from these Wednesday content days, that we learn from each other. And for you, that's, you've been doing it for a long time, to give guys advice on, I'd rather film like this, not like that. I think it's going to be great for us once the safaris really start kicking in. We're going to be shooting a lot differently from a video point of view, and I'm super excited about it. I mean, we can already see the way we were videoing and presenting on the first episode of the Wildlife TV compared to where we are now. I think is a massive step. And like you said, we're going to the bush next week and then the week after. So I think there's going to be some cool stuff coming out of that as well. So stay tuned. Mandeep, Druti, thank you so much for that question. And I think it's a very interesting one. I think it relates to what we said in a couple of questions ago, is don't just limit yourself to one particular thing. I read something or listened to something a couple of days ago where someone said, for your business to work your ass off and then advertise it. I think that's exactly what, with anything that you do. I presume for your smug mug, it is to sell prints. So work really, really hard to try and put your best possible images on your smug mug account, and then use other social media platforms to leverage off that. Market it, promote it, and also, I think tell people something more about, I'm just selling prints. Try and think outside the box. Film yourself while you're printing it. If you've got your own printer, or if you take it to a company that prints it, film that whole process. Or if you manage to sell the print, ask the people to just take a video or a photo of your print on their wall. Try and create a bit of a story out of it. I think it all depends, what you want to try and do with your images. You can start on Instagram, for example, start advertising some of your images on stories or on your feed. Create a bit of a story and then sell at the back of that. I think a lot of people, and we're seeing it now as well, all of a sudden when travel is starting to open up a bit more, travel or safari companies that haven't said anything for the last year are now all of a sudden selling safaris. And unfortunately, the online world and we as people just, it doesn't work like that. So you need to give almost to lure people in and then sell off the bat of that. I'm happy to, if you want to chat about this or throw some ideas around, send me an email or a DM. Happy to discuss it further. But really, give it your all, and look forward to seeing what comes of that. All right, guys, thank you so much for sending your questions through for this week. If you have any questions for Krista or myself, our emails are down at the bottom. Feel free to get in touch if you want to speak to Krista a little bit more about the videos, editing side of things, or the marketing, social media. The email is down at the bottom. Otherwise, Krista, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Hope we can do it again, and maybe next week we can possibly even do one from the bush.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
That's a great
Maybe
idea.
we'll get Trevor and Mike as well. We'll do a whole group one from the field. So that might be quite an interesting episode. But otherwise, thank you so much again for watching. We'll catch you guys again next week. My name's Johan.
My name is Krista.
See you guys next week. Cheers.